Morning. I'm going to make another batch of beer today, and I'm going to make a 2 can with Cooper's Real Ale. Now this is a pretty cool extract kit. I've actually never brewed with it before, but I figured, well, why not? It was on sale at Big W, I was in there, and I don't normally pick up Cooper's dry malt because I don't think it's really cost effective. Usually I buy it at homebrew shop, but I was in Big W and this is on sale, so I just got this as well. So I'm going to use 2 of these in this batch of beer. I'm going to use this, which I'm going to do a bit of a boil and add some Galaxy or whatever I've got left over of Galaxy. I think there's about 30 grams there. I might do it in 2 stages just for something different. Just add a little bit of flavour to the beer. So yeah, let's get ready and see how she goes. So just getting the malt mixed up with some water to the boil. Made a bit of a mistake in probably putting the malt in after I put the water in the pot, so it's very clumpy. I mean, this stuff usually is anyway, but just trying to break it down as much as possible. It should be alright by the time the water gets boiling, but yeah, this stuff is really fun to work with sometimes. Between the last cut, I just actually measured my hops I have left, my Galaxy hops. I've only got about 20 grams, which isn't very much. Probably really only enough for a good dry hop. But now I'm starting to do a boil anyway. I'm just going to boil it. I haven't really got much experience in working out when to add hops, what time to leave them in for, how much to put in there. I've just been following recipes up until this point. Considering I'm not actually going off any recipe that I found today, I'm just going to wing it. I've previously used about 50 grams in boils at various points, so given how much littler hops I've got, I'm probably only going to do this in one lot. Just not sure if I should do it at flame out or let it boil for about 10 minutes. Probably just going to boil it all and see what happens, because I don't know what else to do, to be honest. I'm sure it won't taste terrible. There should be plenty of hoppy goodness in the Real Ale tins anyway, so this should just add some extra flavour to the batch. Okay, starting to achieve a boil now on my brew, on my malt and water. It's mixed in really good, which is nice. Once I get this rolling brew going, I'll probably just turn my stove down just a tad, because it will boil over if I leave it on this temperature. I usually bring it down to 7 on my stove. I made a decision whilst waiting that I'm only going to use about half and half of these hops. I'm going to add half, boil it for 15 minutes, and the other half I'm going to add and take it off the heat. So a bit of flavouring and aroma, probably not much, but something. We've got a little monster over here who wants to get involved in the process. Okay, so we've got a good boil going here. This is the whole lot, so I'm just going to do that.
You push me over.
Didn't push you over. Okay.
You did it.
Being accused of
You pushed me
abuse
over.
and pushing kids over in the background here. Alright, so I've got that going now. That looks really good. I'm going to turn that down a little bit, let that boil, and set that for 15 minutes. Alright, and we'll see how she comes out. In the meantime, while that's boiling, I'm going to add these to the fermenter, which is sterilised, nice and clean. Very messy on this counter though. I'm only going to be using the Cooper's Kit yeast for this batch. I'll probably use both of them. Why not? So I'm just going to add this to the fermenter now. I'm boiling up some water so I can use hot water in these tins to get all the residue out. And I'll put some cold water in the fridge. Probably not for long enough, but we'll see how it goes. I'll get back to you. Alright, so we are coming towards the end of this 15-minute boil with the approximately 10 grams of Galaxy hops. There we go. This mess. Alright, so I'm going to chuck the rest of it in. Turn off the temp. And I'm just going to take this off heat. Maybe a sec. Alright, so that's off the heat now. Got that last 10 grams sitting in this batch. Don't need that anymore. Whilst I was doing that, I emptied these 2 cans out. Used a couple of litres of boiling water to sort of get all that junk out of the middle of those cans. Worked pretty good. Don't forget to use towels or something when you do that, because these cans get really hot. They conduct all the hot water basically, so yeah, be careful there. So I've just been mixing that 2 cans of goop up with the boiling water, which I used to empty the cans, and that's pretty well mixed up now. Now, because I've got 2 litres of boiling water here, about, I don't know, 2 or 3 litres of boiling water there. This is going to be really hot to start with. That's why I did put some water in the fridge this morning. It's only been in there for about 3 hours, so I don't think it's going to really help me too much, unfortunately. That's what it is. With any luck, I'll get the temperature down to a reasonable thing. I won't get it down to 20. I'll be happy with about 24 today. I'm only using kit yeast, and really, I don't care too much. I've made batches where I pitched yeast at 28 degrees, and honestly, the beer's come out okay. If I was using a proper yeast like USA 5 or something like that, sure, I'd pay a bit more attention to the temperature control. But for today, I really don't care. So, I will start mixing this up. Sounds like I've got a child fighting upstairs by the sound of it. So, great video for kids being angry today. Anyway, I'll be back. Alright, I moved the fermenter into the garage where it's going to do its job anyway. So, finished filling it up 23 litres. You can see there. Now, the temperature didn't come down as much as I would have hoped. We're still looking at 28, 26 there. It's probably too warm, even for the Cooper's yeast. As you can see, it's quite cloudy. I didn't strain any of that, the fresh water that I was boiling. I just dump it all in. I know I see a lot of videos of people strain it. I've done both ways. Honestly, the taste, can't tell the difference. If I was harvesting yeast at the end, I'd probably strain it. But given that I'm not, I really don't care. It's all going to be gunk in the bottom of the fermenter at the end, which is just going to go down the drain. So yeah, now what you can do when your water is a little bit hotter than you'd like, you can put your fermenter into an ice bath or into a pot or some sort of tub with some nice cool water to help cool it down. It does take a little bit of time, but it can be done. I really don't have anything, unfortunately, that can actually do that in our place at the moment. Our laundry sink. Look, we have young kids, and let's just say you wouldn't want to put anything homebrew related in that laundry sink. I just wouldn't want to risk any cross-contamination there. It gets dirty, that's what I'm saying. You can invest in some of those plastic tubs as well, where you can put some nice icy water in. I have one of those actually, but it's outside and it's been sitting outside collecting some junk out there, so it's not really good for homebrew today. No big deal. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit for a few hours, and I'll come back later today to pitch the yeast. I'm in no hurry. I've heard recommendations you should do it as soon as possible. I've also heard people say you can leave it a day or two. I haven't really had any experience negatively either way, so I don't know if you heard any particular preference or warnings. I suppose the longer it sits, the more chance there is that something like a wild yeast can get in there. But I've got the lid on. Hopefully that'll minimise any risk of contamination. So yeah, I'll just give it a few hours, come back and pitch the yeast. But I think if I did it now, I do run the risk of actually killing the yeast. 28 is really, that's borderline. I think this yeast is survivable up to about 27, they say. It even says it on the packet. It doesn't say anything on the packet. I think it's on the homebrew tin. The kit tin itself might have instructions where it says pitch it at 21 to 27 degrees. I wouldn't risk it above 26 personally, but below that, as long as you're not some perfectionist, as long as you really don't, you're not going for the best brew in the world, generally around mid-20s, low 20s is usually okay, especially if you're using the Cooper's yeast. Comes out alright in my experience. Anyway, I'll be back in a few hours, pitch the yeast. I'll give you a quick video there. While we're in here, I'll just sort of show you my collection at the moment. Over here I've got 2 batches of Pacific Ale, a bit of a Stone and Wood clone. This is the older batch here, and it is tops. Like, I love it. It's actually a really good brew. I didn't use a kit. I used just liquid malt and Galaxy hops, and it came out really nice. This is the second batch, which I haven't actually tried yet. I think there's some more of it down there. I've also got some pale ale made with malt and Manuka honey, which is actually not bad, but I've mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of honey in beer anymore, and I won't be doing that again. But that was actually not bad. That was Cooper's Pale Ale with 1.5 kilos of light dry malt with some Manuka honey. Not too much, about 200 grams. There I've got some mead, which I made. I've got no idea how good that's going to be. I'm not expecting much. Here's another intruder. Big fat Cali. And over here I just got some more beer. There is a amber ale, which I'm actually taking to a mate's wedding next weekend. It's been conditioning for about a month and a half now, and I tried it last week, and it is actually a really good drop. That's just made with the Cooper's Amber Ale kit. Up here we've got my homebrew 2-can batch, which is not amazing, but it's not bad. It's actually quite drinkable. It's something I would make again. What I would do next time is make sure these lids are tightened properly. I had another one after my last video, which was beautiful. Came out with a lovely head. It was perfectly carbonated. Tops. I had a second one last night, and it was flat again. So I'm thinking it's coming down to the bottling process. Down there's just some leftover pale ales of some sort. I don't know. Anyway, I'll be back when we pitch the yeast later. This is the 2-can Cooper's Real Ale. While I'm waiting for that water to cool down, I'm making lunch. Just thought I'd chuck this in. I use a can of this, some mushrooms, some taco seasoning or Mexican seasoning, or you can just add cumin and chili powder, your choice. Honestly, this is a bloody awesome snack. Really good lunch, and it's actually quite healthy too. And I don't think it pisses off any of the major diet groups. Pretty sure vegans are fine with it, vegetarians, meat eaters, paleos, I don't know. It's just a good lunch. I recommend you give it a try. Alright, it's a couple of hours later. What time is it now? About 3:30 in the afternoon. And it's cooled down a bit. So we're looking at about maybe 24, 25, 26 degrees. Still a bit warm, but it should be fine to pitch the yeast, so I'm going to do that now. I'll let you know how this beer turns out. I'm going to bottle it in about 2 weeks' time. Hopefully it'll be a good drop. In the meantime, I'm just going to do this. Overall, it's pretty cheap. I got it on sale at Big W. So it was $11 for each of the Real Ale cans, $6.80 for the malt, and I used my leftover hops, probably about $3 or $4 worth. So all up, it's about low 30s, and yeah, hopefully it's a good drop. Thanks for watching.